Good morning, I'm Maurice Barratt and I'm here again with another Life in Lockdown. This is May the 14th and I'm carrying on with the studies of the end times. I'm looking today at the woman who rides the beast because it's connected to the two beasts that we looked at in Revelation 13. I believe these are the two beasts. So, a little bit of background, we're looking in Revelation 16 first. The 7 vials have been poured out on the earth. Jesus hasn't returned yet. We're now still in the reign of the man of sin and the Antichrist. And I'm picking up a Revelation 16 verse 17. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." So this is the end of the judgment of God on the earth. The seals have been opened, the trumpets have been blasted, and the vials. So it's coming to a culmination. And verse 19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cries of the nations fell, and the great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give her unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. So it's time for Babylon to be judged. So we carry on now into verse 1 and 2 of Revelation 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials and talked with me, saying, "Come hither, I'll show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, and with the kings of the earth who have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been drunk with the wine of her fornication." So there's an alliance here. They've committed fornication, they bedfellows. Well, I believe this whore that sits on the great waters is the second beast, of Revelation 13. The false prophet, the woman. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-coloured beast, having the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Well, the blasphemy, 7 heads, 10 horns, that correlates and shows that that's the first beast that we looked at. And she sits on the first beast. That's the son of perdition, the one world political leader, Satan personified, however you want to term it. But now we've got a description of the woman. I believe this is the counterfeit bride of Christ. The bride of Christ is the virgin, New Jerusalem. This is the whore, the prostitute of Babylon. And so Babylon is always religious. The false prophet is religious. The one world dictator is political. So I believe the woman and the beast are these two beasts of Revelation 13. But it's letting you know that this false prophet is the whore of Babylon. And the woman was arrayed, so it describes her. She was arrayed in purple, verse 4, and scarlet colour, decked with gold, stones and pearls, having a golden cup in a hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. So this is the attire of the prostitute: gold, precious stones, pearls. Well, that's the attire of the bride of Christ, the virgin. That's New Jerusalem. The city is a woman, the woman is a city. The whore is the whore of Babylon, the city, and the bride of Christ is New Jerusalem. Let me read from Revelation chapter 21, verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. There was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of her heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So New Jerusalem is the bride. And then it describes the building, verse 18, and the building of the wall was jasper, the city was gold, and the foundation of the wall were garnished with all manner of precious stones. And it gives you the 12 foundations, precious stones. And the 12 gates, verse 21, were 12 pearls. So there's 12 gates in New Jerusalem, and the entrance, the only way to get into the city is through the pearly gates. Well, pearls talk of suffering. So you won't be the bride of Christ unless you go through suffering. They that suffer with Christ will also reign with him. There'll be millions of people who are saved and be on the new earth, in the flesh and blood, but only those in the first resurrection, I believe, will be the bride of Christ. and you've got to go through sufferings. Unless you're willing to leave family, homes, children, wife, even your own life, you can't be a disciple. Remember that all those who don't worship the beast will be killed. They'll suffer, they'll be the bride. So they both have pearls. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, the bride of Christ gets her pearls through suffering. The prostitute has the attire of pearls, but she's a deceiver. She's got her pearls through prostitution. She's prostituted herself to get her wealth and her attire. But they both look the same outwardly. You see, a high-class courtesan and a true lady, aristocratic lady, look the same. It's one has the heart of a pure woman, one has the heart of a whore. They look outwardly the same. Verse 5, and upon her forehead was written a name, Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots, abominations of the earth. The abominations of the earth, it's when there's a mixture, when blood is spilt into the earth. That's why God destroyed it the first time, because the blood cried out the violence that was on the earth. I can't go into that. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. Two categories there. I believe the blood of the saints are the Old Testament prophets who were martyred, and obviously those in the New Testament were covered by the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And John wondered with great admiration. Well, we don't have to wonder because the angel told John. Verse 7, and the angel said to me, wherefore dost thou marvel? I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, that had the 7 heads, 10 horns. So that's the first beast. The beast that thou saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, go into perdition, son of damnation. That confirms again. Verse 10 and 11, I'll jump to that. And there were 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. When he comes, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he's the 8th, and he's of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. So it shows that this is the first beast. This is a one-world dictator. And the woman which you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. Well, what religious city? It's got to be religious because the woman's religious. This is the false prophet. What's the only city that's religious that rules over the kingdoms of the world? Well, I believe it's Rome. I believe spiritual Babylon moves. We know physical Babylon was in Mesopotamia, and there was a physical Babylon in Egypt, as it happens, just after the days of Nimrod. But I believe spiritual Babylon will end up in Jerusalem, but at the moment it's Rome. So that's the only religion I believe it can be attributed to. Only the Catholic Church, which is 1 billion members, and a Pope who claims to be the world shepherd of the Church, is surely Antichrist, is surely this woman. All reformers believed it to be so. It's only the last maybe 70 years that Protestants have started to embrace the Catholic Church as though it's Christian, when it's actually the religion of Babylon. Vatican City, it's a country, it's a city-state. It's the only one in the world to have diplomatic relationships with every other country. Their spy network is the best in the world, and it's used by all nations. The Catholic Church spirited the Nazi generals into South America after World War II. And they also moved the scientists who were working on genetics and all those things to work on the Oppenheimer project, the Manhattan Project, under Oppenheimer, for the bomb that went on Hiroshima. The Pope has the right to set up kings or depose of them according to their own writings. And the popes are Antichrist by their own statements. They're in place of Christ, vicarious Christi. And John said that Antichrist spirit's always been us. We've always had popes, but the last one will be Antichrist. Antichrist in the Bible is not capital A. It's small a. It's not the name of a person. It's a spirit, the spirit of Antichrist. Of course, there will be the last one. The doctrines the religious garments that are passed down to the Anglicans and others, and the rituals, they're all Babylonian. So the one world religion won't be a new religion, it's a revived Babylonian religion of Nimrod, called Christianity now. 1 John 2:18, little children, it's the last time, and you've heard that the Antichrist shall come. Even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we know it's the last times. So Antichrist spirit's always been there. All over the world, there's the image of the woman riding the beast. When we got the United Europe, then it was on the stamps, it was on the coins, and the statues of a naked woman sat on a beast in Brussels and all over the world. It's amazing. Well, Europe's named after Europa. The woman who, if you know the Greek myth, the woman who rode the bull, Zeus, the god who came down, rode her on his back into the sea and raped her. And of course we get a hybrid, don't we, a demigod. It was Charlemagne, king of the Franks, lived in the 742 to 814, and he founded the Holy Roman Empire, and he called Christendom Europa. It was a prophecy, because the beast will destroy the woman that she rides, that rides upon her. So we have to ask the question, is the woman directing the beast? Who's in control? Is the woman directing the beast? She's holding the reins. Or is the beast taking a woman for a ride? It's a delicate balance, you know. Remember, in the end, the 10 kings who were working for the beast gives the power to 10 kings, are going to destroy this woman. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Interesting. There's so much we could say, but I've got to come to an end. You know, the pharaohs were dictators, but they were also gods. The Roman Caesars, they worshipped them as gods, but they were political dictators. But now, in these last days, there's a separation between the religious, the woman, the second beast, the false prophet, and the one world political dictator. So we've got two. So if you know history, you know the future. Who were potential world dictators? Well, Napoleon Bonaparte, maybe we could say he was a potential world dictator. He had an alliance with the Pope. Let me give you the details. He made a concordat with Pope Pius VII, signed on the 15th of July 1801 in Paris, and it remained in effect until 1905. So there's the religious. Why would the one world political leader potentially make a concordat, an alliance with the Pope? Because it's the woman who rides the beast. Adolf Hitler, maybe he was a potential one world leader. Well, he made a concordat with Pope Pius XI, signed on the 20th of July 1933, and it was signed actually by Cardinal Secretary of State Pacelli, who later became Pope Pius XII. I've said enough I've convinced myself that the woman is the second beast, and the beast she rides upon is the first beast. The woman who rides the beast, the two beasts of Revelation. But let me recommend some books, maybe, if you're interested. A Woman Ride the Beast by Dave Hunt. He's dead now, but he wrote an excellent book. The Vatican Billions by Avro Manhattan. I think he wrote it in the 80s, but it's very relevant. Hitler's Pope by John Cornwell. And The Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmund Paris. Maybe you should read those books if you're interested. The time's gone. We'll carry on tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.